All right, let's dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of a spy movie, but it is a very, very real part of our wireless world. We're talking about intentional radio interference. You know, the unseen culprit that might just be behind some of technology's most frustrating little mysteries. So, this is it, the final installment, part 5 of our deep dive into that amazing report from RFI Detectives. We've gone through industrial gear, consumer electronics, even natural sources of interference. But today, well, today we are tackling the most unusual category of them all, the intentional sources. I mean, you've probably been there, right? Your GPS just blanks out in the middle of nowhere. Your Wi Fi drops for no reason at all. Or maybe your car's key fob just decides it's not going to work today. Sometimes, sure, it's just a random glitch, but what if it's no accident at all? Let's get right into it. What we're talking about here is so much more than just random static or background noise. We are entering the world of deliberate, calculated disruption. So try to picture our airwaves as these vast, invisible highways. Now, most of the interference we've talked about in this series is basically like accidental traffic. You know, a poorly shielded microwave oven or a faulty power line that creates a little bit of a jam. It's super annoying, yeah, but it is completely unintentional. And that is the crucial difference here. We're not talking about a traffic jam anymore. We're talking about a deliberate roadblock, something put there with the express purpose of stopping signals dead in their tracks. And this brings us to a very, very specific definition. According to the report, the thing that separates this category from everything else we've discussed is one simple word: intent. The device causing all this trouble isn't doing something else and accidentally making a mess. No, its entire purpose, its reason for being, is to create that interference. So, who are these intentional culprits? Well, the RFI Detectives report lays out this fascinating, let's call it a rogues gallery, of devices that are designed specifically for this purpose. Let's meet the lineup. The report really breaks them down into 4 main groups. You've got your commercial jammers, then the really sophisticated electronic warfare systems, powerful hobbyist devices, and of course the classic unlicensed broadcasters. Let's take a quick look at each one. Okay, first up, commercial jammers. These are the kinds of things someone might just buy online to, say, block a GPS tracker in a company truck, or maybe create a dead zone for cell phones in a restaurant. They're usually pretty small, but don't let that fool you. They can cause huge problems for all the other signals around them. Now, let's scale this way, way up. Electronic warfare is basically jamming on a national, even international level. These are incredibly powerful, often state-sponsored systems built to disrupt military communications, radar, and other critical infrastructure during a conflict. This is some really high-stakes interference. And now, back down to a smaller scale, we have hobbyist devices. This could be something like a really powerful, maybe modified radio-controlled car or drone. Now, the operator probably isn't trying to cause any harm, but their souped-up gear can just completely overwhelm other signals in the area, everything from your Wi-Fi to your garage door opener. And finally, we've got a classic, pirate radio. We're talking about unauthorized broadcasters who set up their own transmitters to play music or share their own messages. By operating totally outside the rules, their signals can easily bleed over and just wreak havoc on licensed, legitimate broadcasts. Okay, so when you're dealing with culprits that are designed to be disruptive and are maybe even actively trying to hide, how in the world do you solve the problem? Well, it takes a special kind of investigator, an RFI detective, just like the report's authors. So what does it actually take to hunt down these invisible signals? What's in the toolkit? The report's conclusion lays out a really clear, systematic approach. This isn't about guesswork, it's a science. The strategy laid out in the report is really a 4-part process. You start with systematic detection, using specialized tools to find the source. Next, you apply a layered defense, because one fix is almost never enough. Then, you apply proven solutions that are specific to that source. And finally, and this is a really crucial step, you train professionals and educate the community to raise awareness. That whole layered mitigation step is absolutely key. There's almost never a single magic bullet for these kinds of problems. The real solution is often a combination of different tactics. You might use special filters to clean up a signal, or shielded cables to block outside noise, maybe proper grounding to safely get rid of interference, or sometimes it's as simple as physically moving equipment further apart. Each technique solves one piece of the puzzle. And all of this, it really builds to a bigger picture. I mean, our reliance on wireless tech is only getting bigger, which means those invisible highways we talked about are just getting more and more crowded every single day.
This quote from the report just sums it up perfectly. Interference isn't some problem that we can just solve and be done with. It's a permanent feature of our technological world that we have to actively manage, whether it's accidental or, as we've seen today, completely intentional. So as we keep filling our world with more and more signals, we're creating more opportunities for conflict, for disruption on that invisible spectrum. And it forces us to ask a really important question. In this silent, invisible war for the airwaves, who makes the rules and who's there to enforce them? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this series.